You have to forgive yourself in order to be kind to yourself. But a lot of times people don't tell you why love is kind, because love is patience. But it starts with forgiveness. It starts with recognizing everything that you've been through. Who are you forgiving? You're forgiving yourself. See, a lot of times we have to realize and actually say that it is okay. But it's hard to accept it being okay because we don't know what it is. See, a lot of times in life, love is so overwhelming because we are so hard on ourselves. We're not kind to ourselves. We don't feed our minds positivity because we're always talking down on ourselves. Like, I don't deserve this. I'm not good enough to do this. Why does it have to be me? Why did I have to go through this? We talk so down on ourselves, we don't understand the energy that we are putting inside of us. Love is kind is giving yourself time to even recognize what you've been through. Love is kind is saying, I forgive myself for being so hard on my past, for being so hard on my history, for being so hard on my love. See, a lot of times that's really being difficult and hard on us. We don't know how to give out the love that we want to receive. Love is kind is actually understanding that we are okay. Love is kind is actually saying what I've been through is my story, but my story was going to help a lot of people. Not just a lot of people. Forget about the other people for now. It's going to help me more. But we have to understand why this help is coming, because we have to start being kind to our history. See, a lot of times we don't tell you why your history is so important. History is so important because you live with your past. And your past is present because you so hard on yourself. Love is not in the universe because what you're putting out, you're putting hate towards the universe. You're putting hate towards yourself. You're putting hate towards what you've been through. See, when you understand what love is, and love is actually learning how to know yourself. See, the definition of love is actually what you give out to the universe, right? It's not the Google definition, it's my definition, because I understand what you give to yourself. If you give this next person what you give to yourself, it's gonna be okay. But we have to understand that love has to be kind in order to say we have to put ourselves in different situations in order to start growing more. But what's happening is that we get so stuck in the past. The past is here and today because we are not kind to ourselves. But when you give yourself kindness, when you give yourself permission to be kind, to accept your past, to accept your history, your life starts to change. Because now, instead of you being hard on yourself, you start loving yourself. You start cherishing the person that you are. You start respecting yourself. You start creating boundaries for yourself. You start putting yourself first. But you can't put yourself first if you don't understand the concept of love being kind. So for the next 25 minutes, I'm going to speak about why love is kind and why it's so important to learn about you as a person. When I was going through my divorce, I thought I was going to be lonely for the rest of my life. So I started telling myself the bad things like, nobody's going to want to be with me. I'm not that good enough. I'm not that good enough to even get in another relationship. I thought my love went all to my ex-wife. What I had to learn was that I was so hard on myself, I was missing the lessons that was presented. I needed to be alone. There's a picture where every time I speak about isolation and being alone, there's a picture that comes to mind. The picture is there's two road maps, right? On one side, you have a lot of people. On one side, you just have one. As this one person is coming to this left side just to be by him or herself, there's a lot of work that has to go on behind the scenes. There's a lot of work that has to be discovered to say, I'm working on this step by step by step by step by step. But what's happening is that when we pull away from the crowd and get by ourselves, it's the most scariest thing because we wasn't taught how to be by ourselves. It is okay to be alone because you have to learn what alone means. When you're kind to your past, that's when you just start developing your love. You have to be by yourself to learn what you like, what you dislike, what you can do, what you can learn, what you don't want to learn, what you can do, what are you great at, what you're not great at. See, we really have to put time into ourselves to understand why love is so kind. Love is kind because we're understanding that we can walk into this path. Here's what I'm saying is because my scariest thing that I didn't want to do was be alone. The picture is so great because you have to learn who you are. in order to get back to the crowd. But see, what's happening is that when you pull away from the first crowd and you work on yourself, the next crowd that you come encounter with is going to be more like you because they're working on themselves too. But we get so hurt, we get so confused, we get so frustrated because we have to leave a comfortable place in our life in order to evolve. What do you evolve it to? You evolve it to someone greater. I can't predict the future. I can't sit here and say that you're gonna be someone better when I don't even know you. But you know yourself. You have to give yourself credit for everything that you've been through. I had to give myself credit for even having the thought of even walking away from my ex-wife. I had to stop being so hard on myself. I had to learn that being alone wasn't a punishment. It was a lesson to help me grow. But where am I growing from? I'm growing from my pain. I had to learn that I had to learn that love is kind, but I only understood that when I understood myself, when I learned more about who I am. But see, what's happening is that we don't want to know who we are because we haven't been taught this. See, when you pull away from the crowd and get by yourself and now you're on the left lane, you really have to do some soul searching. And you start by accepting your past. Why are you feeling the way that you're feeling today? What happened? Identify your trauma, identify your pain, identify everything that broke you down. Remember this feeling because this feeling is not going to go away. When you was broken down, what did you do in order to go to the next day, in order to continue and see the next day? See, what's happening is that we get in a dilemma, we get in a hard time, but this hard time is so overwhelming because we don't know how to come out of it. A lot of times we're in it and we're so stuck in it, we're not learning. I had to learn how to communicate my emotions. I had to learn how to communicate my thoughts. I had to learn how to communicate not only to myself, but to other people. I had to really just get comfortable with the process. I had to say love is kind because I understand what love is. Love is self-reputation. Love is self-identity. Love is just being by yourself. Love is being alone. That's why love is kind, because you're kind to yourself. You're nice to yourself. You're aware of yourself. You're understanding of yourself. You're not so hard on everything that you didn't accomplish. Why am I saying this? Because you're not going to be able to heal if you can't identify your past. Love is kind when you actually take the time to learn more about yourself. But if you're in a crowd in the right lane with a whole bunch of people, you can't learn about yourself because now the crowd is influencing you in order to do what they're doing. Most times we have to step away from this crowd and get by ourselves and actually learn, what do we want to do? What have we been through? What was so troubling that we couldn't overcome? How can we start doing this? Here's how you can start doing this. You need to get alone. Get away from the crowd. Pull away from the right lane, get in the left lane, and identify everything that you've been through. Within the last year, identify just everything that you've been through. Because when the emotion that you're feeling, when the pain get brought up, you need to keep feeling this because it's going to help you identify why you're feeling like this. It was long nights I couldn't sleep. It was long nights I couldn't sleep at night. It was long nights I couldn't even close my eyes and get a good night's sleep because I was just thinking about the pain that I was in. I couldn't do it, so I had to get up and write notes. I had to get up and write myself a journal. I had to get up and ask myself, how are you doing? I had to get up and ask myself, how did today go? I have to get up and ask myself these hard questions because if I can't communicate to myself, I can't figure out what's wrong with me. I can't identify my past. I can't identify the pain that I'm in. Because I was so hard on myself, I wasn't kind to myself, I wasn't loving myself. But how do you start doing something if you never was taught to do it? You have to take one step at a time. I had to take one step at a time to put myself first. Granted, I was around a lot of people that was helping me find my story, find my pain. But what's happening is that when you get around people that's going through what you're going through, you're able to communicate your story a lot better because now you're not judged. So you remember you're in the right lane, right? There's a lot of people in the right lane. When you go to the left lane, you're all by yourself. But as you're working on yourself, you go into a right lane, but the right lane is attracting new people in your life. It's bringing people that can help you along your journey because you started. Because you put the step in, you took the step and actually put yourself out there. So you're not alone because you're on the right side. People just coming to help you. Oh, you going through a divorce? Oh, okay, man. How are you feeling? How are you feeling through this process? How are you feeling? Like, what are you doing to overcome your pain? What did you learn? How are you feeling? It's so important to keep asking yourself how you're feeling, because you have different moods that you go through. So you're no longer alone because you're working on yourself. But as you're working on yourself, the people that's coming in your life is pouring into you, because now y'all pouring into each other. But when y'all pouring into each other, y'all healing each other. But people don't tell you why love is kind, because it's attracting the right people in your life that can help you grow. Hurt people. But loved people love hurt people. Why is that? Because we became aware of ourselves. We understood that the pain that we was going through was for a particular reason. But we had to learn why this was presented. Why do I need to be alone to even learn what isolation even is? Isolation is another word of being alone. But we can't identify what being alone is if we're so afraid of the unknown. If we're so afraid of the outcome, because the outcome is not in front of us. See, this is where being patient with yourself and actually giving yourself forgiveness come into effect. Because if you're not forgiving your history, your present is going to be damaged because your past is present. Here's what I'm saying is because a lot of times we have to really just give ourselves grace. We have to start loving ourselves. We have to start putting ourselves first. We have to start identifying our emotions. We have to learn that love is kind. But it's only kind from the amount of love that you give yourself. So I had to start with myself. I can't pour it to the next person if there's nothing to be poured. When I was playing football in high school, the best thing that I ever done was just playing on a team. My 9th and 10th grade wasn't that good. But when I got to the 11th and 12th grade, the mindset that I needed to have, that I needed to develop, was different from my 9th and 10th grade, my first and second year that I was playing. It was completely different from my 3rd and 4th, because now I'm not just dependent on myself. I had to work on myself, but when I started to really learn and focus more on everything I need to learn behind the scenes, when it's time for me to present it, it was shown because I understood myself. The best thing I ever did was just play on the team, because now I'm not the only one working on myself. In life, when you're working on a team, you're not the only one working on yourself. And it eased my mind, because now all the pressure is not on me. The thing about sports, the thing about football, because I play football, is that there's 11 people on the field on each down. I can't play 11 different positions, but I can play one to the best of my ability by giving myself grace, by being kind if I miss a tackle, by being kind if I miss a play, by being kind if I let the other team score because I didn't do my assignment right. So I wasn't afraid of the outcome. I wanted the outcome to present itself so I could learn what I did wrong. Why? Because I was kind to myself. I love myself because I did the work behind the scenes. I was working out. I was learning the plays. I was learning the film. I was learning what I needed to do in order to be efficient enough to help my team. What's happening is that we want to help everybody before we help ourselves. And when we try to help everybody, we haven't helped ourselves. The work that we're doing is damaged. It's not good enough. There's no outcome from this because you didn't put the time and effort to love yourself, to be kind to yourself. Love is kind is when you recognize what kindness is. You have to forgive yourself. You have to forgive your past. You have to forgive your history. You have to give yourself permission to forgive you for being so hard on yourself. Why? Because a lot of times your success is built from your forgiveness. First 2 years in high school, I didn't really play that much. I played junior varsity, 9th and 10th grade. I was okay. I wasn't that great, but I was okay. I was just on the field, just running around. But 10th and 11th grade, I really had to change something for my first and second years in order to be a good player. I had to keep doing extra work, keep studying the plays, keep studying the film, keep studying, keep showing up early, keep staying late. The things that really matter is the work that you put in yesterday for today, because it builds up on each other. When you understand love is kind, you're building your confidence. When you understand love is kind, you really just, your understanding of yourself. See, what's happening is that when I thought I was going to be lonely for the rest of my life, I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to step away because I just wanted to be with somebody. But being with somebody wasn't the best for me because I wasn't with myself. I wasn't kind to myself. When I say love is kind, we have to recognize why it's presented this way. It's presented this way because it starts with the person in the mirror. When the person in the mirror study him or herself, the person that's coming into their lives is bringing value because we understand what love is. Love is kind because you gave yourself permission to love yourself. You gave yourself permission to put yourself first. You gave yourself permission to even say, everything that I've been through is overwhelming, it's traumatizing, it's painful. But I'm giving myself to accept the pain and say that it's okay. See, oftentimes as we're going through hurt, the hurt is still with us because we haven't dealt with it. We don't know how to. When we bounce from relationship to relationship to relationship to relationship, we're bouncing broken. We haven't properly healed because we haven't properly learned. Love is kind is learning more about yourself. Love is kind is being patient with yourself. Love is kind is giving yourself permission to accept the past and to work with your journey. Love is kind is actually letting time do its job. But see, what's happening is that when we go through this process, it gets so overwhelming. We throw in the towel before the towel is even wet. And simply because it's hard. Now, when you work on yourself, it's hard. Next point I want to hit on, when you work on yourself, it's hard. If you're watching this video this far, please hit that subscribe button, please like it, please share it, and please leave a comment down below. The last point I want to hit on is that loving yourself is a difficult task. Love is kind because it is difficult and new. It is difficult because when we try to do something new, we don't know how to do it. My prime example, I started working out a couple months ago. Start going every day. But the thing about working out, if your technique is not good, you can hurt yourself. If your technique is not good, you're not hitting certain muscles that can make you stronger. If your technique is not focused on getting better, your results is not going to show. But the thing about working out that I've learned, if I show up, I get help when I need help. If I don't show up, I can't meet the people that's there. If I do show up, now I'm able to meet more people that's in the space of growing and learning themselves to become better because I put myself out there. It is difficult because we're comfortable with where we are today. It is difficult because we don't want to put ourselves out there. It is difficult because it's overwhelming. But see, here's the thing about understanding that love is kind. You have to put yourself out there. You have to start. You have to try. You have to figure it out. Because here's the thing, when you take your first step, it's not gonna be the last step that you take. When you take your second step, now you get prepared to take your third, your fourth, your fifth, your sixth, your seventh, your eighth, and so on and so forth. Why? Because you took step one. You put yourself out there. But when you put yourself out there, people are willing to help. And what's so scary is that we don't understand why people are helping because we don't know ourselves. Or we don't understand that we can get help from other people because we already started. I try to figure everything out by myself, but I can't. I simply can't, because I'm not that talented. It's too much to focus on, too much to do. But what I've learned is that when I try my best, someone is willing to come into my life to help me improve from my best to what I know, to what I can walk into, to my growth. What's best is not always good because what's best is your comfort level. When I was working out with my buddies, I was doing 20-pound dumbbells. I didn't know I can do more weight. I was doing what was comfortable to me, which was 20 pounds. Because I mean, try that 50-pound dumbbell. I'm like, 50 pounds? That's a lot of weight. But I grabbed it, I tried it, and I did it. But I didn't know I could do it because I didn't push my limit. I was comfortable with the 20s, but when I got that 50, it was like, I can do this. I can do this because I showed up. And once I showed up, I got the result because my buddy helped me along the way. And see, here's the thing. Don't be afraid to show up because you showing up is the best result that you can ever do. A lot of times, you learning that love is kind is understanding that it takes time to build this growth within yourself. But it starts with permission. You have to give yourself permission to be kind to yourself. Change what you're saying to yourself. I'm not that good to I am good. It's not my time. Why do I deserve this? To I do deserve this. Why should it be me? Why should it not be me? What this is doing is building your confidence up within yourself to even say, I love myself so much because I believe in my journey. I believe in my process. I believe in the work that I put in behind the scenes. But when you change what you're saying to yourself, you really start to grow and understand that love is kind, because I'm telling myself it is kind. Love is only what you're thinking because it's building and restoring in your mind. Love is kind because you understand how to love yourself. Love is kind because you understand how to put yourself first. Love is kind because you understand how to be patient with yourself. Love is kind because you're taking that step out for yourself. Love is kind because you're aware of yourself. Love is kind because you understand you. Love is kind because you're learning about yourself. But see, the thing about understanding loving is kind is that you have to give yourself permission to love yourself endlessly. When you give yourself permission to love yourself, now you really start to grow and flourish into this amazing human being. Because you're no longer on the left side alone by yourself. You're now on the right side with a whole bunch of people, and the whole bunch of people can help each other grow, can help each other evolve, can help each other figure life out, not just by yourself, but from people that's on the same energy level as you. Because everybody's working on themselves. Everybody's working on themselves. When you get around a crowd that's working on themselves, what's going to be the next person that come into their circle? They working on themselves too. But you have to start by understanding that love is kind. When you understand love is kind, now you can grow into this amazing person and can get around amazing people. But love is kind starts with you giving yourself permission to be kind to yourself and to love everything about who you are as a person.